Can I get some fellow Christian Redditors to share their testimonies of how God healed them? From illness, disease, addiction, etc. I think we can all use some encouragement. Share your stories of God working a miracle in your life or someone you know directly. Part 3. Testimony 1.
My father-in-law had excessive psoriasis all over his body, no hair anywhere, only scale all over the body. He looked like a monster. Big chunks of scale used to fall and leave open flesh exposed. There is no cure for that, only treatment. He went to a Catholic charismatic church along with my mother-in-law. He confessed his sins, and everyone prayed over him. He started getting better daily, and in the matter of 1 month he was completely healed. The doctor he was seeing couldn't explain why he was healed, other than state that it was a miracle. This is a story that all the family members tell, because they were all witnesses to it. They had 4 daughters and 1 son at that time. The oldest son was about 16 years old and the youngest daughter was about 4 years old. This is an amazing miracle that God performed in their lives. As they were not married, and from that moment on, they got closer to God, decided to serve Him. They got married later on and they tried to live a life pleasing to God. My mother-in-law became a super religious person. She is always praying and reading her Bible. She says that she'll prefer to become a nun when my father-in-law dies rather than remarry, and dedicate the rest of her life to prayer, study, and meditating the word of the Lord. My father-in-law is always thankful on God and cries when he tells that story. Of course they are by no means perfect Christians, but they try to do their best with the graces that God had gave them. Still, they have been a great inspiration in my own life, and me getting closer to God had been because of that family, along with all their deficiencies, my mother-in-law and her life of suffering and sacrifice, and how still her love of God never diminishes, but is always increasing. God is always working in some ways on every one of us, we just sometimes don't notice. If we could just quiet our own internal voices, all our complaints, and try to listen to what He wants to tell us, we'll realize that He is always taking care of us, He is always looking after us, and His angels are always by our side. I can't thank God enough on all the good things He is always doing for me. God bless you all and keep you safe.
Testimony 2.
I had a rough 5 years. I lost 2 parents and divorced within that time. I was at the lowest point of my life and had to either surrender to Christ completely or continue to do things my way, which wasn't working. I dedicated an hour each day to prayer and studying His Word. A year later others saw a transformation in my life as I also did. I met my neighbor. 6 months later we got married. Every aspect of my life has changed, and now more than ever I see the spiritual battle that pursued me, and now I know Christ never left me while going through this tragedy. God now uses me to help others that suffer from affliction. Prayer, studying the Word of God will change your life. Put on the full armor of God when you do, as you're entering a full battle.
Testimony 3.
You heathens! How can you possibly say that God heals? He stopped healing 2,000 years ago. By His stripes we were healed. God already healed, saved, and delivered everyone instantaneously in 1 moment on the cross. Our job now is to apply the blood for salvation and His body for our healing. Anyhow, no longer in jest, I began taking communion in faith that the scriptures about it healing us being true, and instantly my back started healing where I had been suffering a while. I've seen a few people healed by laying hands on them and praying faith, and one story I thought was amazing is that I led a girl on Reddit to Christ and told her to pray. She did, praying to God as He was our good Father who never fails us, and asked if He could do something about her back. She had had 2 surgeries, to no avail, and instantly she felt heat up her back and the pain was gone. There's no limit or religious constraints to the goodness of God. She hadn't been baptized or been to church, but God loved her.
Testimony 4.
Mine would have to be back when I was in high school. I'm in my 30s now. I was bullied a lot, had horrible rumors spread about me. I lost all my friends and was blacklisted by my family. I soon fell into a deep depression, and on top of that, I was having horrible nightmares and was afraid to sleep. I was actively losing my sanity and figured the best way to fix things was to end my life. The night that I decided to do this, God showed me a vision that both scared me and at the same time let me know how much I was loved. He showed me a vision of my funeral. I saw all of my family, all my friends from school crying over my casket. God also allowed me to feel my mother's pain. I'm her only child, and the pain I felt that would have been hers was immensely strong and heavy. After that, I told God that He now has my attention and I will never allow myself to get that low again. I didn't understand then, but knowing now all that God has brought me through, I can't help but to praise and glorify Him.
You've made it to the end. If you've liked this video and would like to see more content like this, like and subscribe. If you have a testimony you'd like to share, send it to us at resilientfaithtestimony@gmail.com.